Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the Kern County College Night. You are here for the Presenting Yourself on the UC Application session. My name is Iona Nee, and I am the Assistant Director with the Undergraduate Office of Admissions at the University of California, Merced. I'm here with my colleague, Elizabeth Lopez. We'll be sharing with you how to put your best foot forward on the UC application, as well as navigating each section and discussing the minimum eligibility admissions requirements.
Thank you, Iona. So good evening, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Lopez. I am the Regional Admissions Advisor for Central Valley, which means that I get to work directly with your high schools and with you. So we do hope that this presentation is helpful to you and your families. So let's go ahead and get started with this application. So here you will see all of our UC campuses. One thing that I do want to mention before I get into the location of our campuses is that when you are applying to our UC campuses, there is only one application. So that means that you get to apply to as many campuses as you'd like. However, there is a fee attached to every single $20 for residents and $80 for international students. So another thing to mention and keep in mind is that we do not collaborate on admissions. So UC Merced will not ask UC Davis if they've accepted you, or if they won't ask us if we've accepted et cetera students. So we don't collaborate in any kind of way. So as you can see right here, UC Merced is basically located in the heart of California. So we are not too far from UC Santa Cruz and not too far from Yosemite National Park as well, which is a perk. But some other things to keep in mind as you do select your campuses is probably location, size, and the majors that those schools offer. Keep in mind that although we do have a wide range of majors, not every campus offers the same ones. Here you'll see a timeline in which you should keep in mind as you do apply to our universities of California. So August 1st is when the application opens. So that means that you can now go ahead and start creating your application. However, you cannot submit until November 1st. The deadline is November 30th. So between November 1st and November 30th is when you should be submitting your application. If you submit on November 1st, that doesn't mean that you get first admissions. That just means that that's the first day you get to submit. From February to March, universities do start notifying students of their admissions decisions. So this is when you'll start hearing back about how to accept your admissions with them, how to move forward, which leads me to May 1st, which is the statement to intent to register deadline, which is our SIR date. This means that on that day, you get to finally basically submit and let the university of your choice know that you are going to attend their university for the fall of 2021. Usually there is a deposit attached to the university. Every deposit is different depending on the university. So those are details that you'll have to look into once that happens. From May to June, there is a wait list. So if you do get waitlisted from May to June, you may hear back from a university that you were waitlisted for. You may be removed from that wait list and they may offer you admissions. So at that point, you would move forward with any instructions they've indicated. However, before you do get started on your application, we want you to basically consider, like I mentioned, your major and your campus of your options. So whether that means that you're applying to UC Merced and you're looking into public health, you want to make sure that we do have that major. You also want to have a copy of your unofficial transcript. The reason for this is because you'll need to report all your academic courses, UC approved academic courses into your application. You'll also want to write your responses to your personal insight questions separately, whether that's a Word document or a Google Doc where you're saving it as you go. This will ensure that you don't lose your personal insight questions or they don't get deleted for whatever reason on the application. You also want to start a document to create or outline basically all the activities, awards, and work/volunteer experience that you've had throughout your high school experience. I know it's hard to recollect all your details about every involvement you've been in, so that's why we recommend that you list it out before ahead of time, so that way the application process goes as smoothly as possible. Remember that you are basically self-reporting everything, so we do ask that you please report everything with honesty and integrity, which means that you are reporting all your A through G courses, whether you've retaken them and remade up a course. So basically reporting both grades, the good one and the bad one, reporting all your activities, awards, work experience, and community service. Your personal insight questions should be accurate as well, that you're describing experiences that pertain to you and only you, so that we get to know you personally on this throughout this application process. And verification of application will be at the very end of your application, where you verify that you've listed nothing but the truth. Go ahead. So some of our requirements are the A through G courses, as you probably have heard from your counselors. So our A through G subject courses are 15 UC approved courses. Typically, this can be like your history class, your math class, your science, or your English. An A through G course would not be PE, so just keep that in mind. Those are not A through G courses. You typically have to earn a C or better, but due to COVID-19 for the winter and spring and summer of 2020, we are accepting pass and credit grades, which means that this doesn't impact your A through G courses, nor does it negatively impact your GPA, which is a good thing. So as long as you're able to report that you've taken the class and you basically passed, you're good to go. The GPA requirements for California residents are a 3.0 and above, and 3.4 for non-residents. So our application selection, we take a couple of factors into account. So through that, you'll see that we are going to take a close look at your PIQs. We're going to take a close look at contextual factors, which means what was available to you throughout your high school experience, what did you take advantage of, and how did you learn from that, or how did you grow? Academic factors just ties back into your A through G courses. How did you do overall? Extracurricular factors would be, were you involved at school? Were you involved outside of school? So our selection is very comprehensive, which leads me to the next slide. So our comprehensive review is basically your academic achievement, how you personally have done, your school context, special talents that you have, life challenges and how you've overcome them, how you've grown from them, special circumstances. Maybe there's something going on in your family that you want to describe, and maybe you're persevering through it all. So those are things that we're going to take into account as we look through your application. So when you do start creating your account, the one thing that you're going to want to make sure it's going to ask is to make sure that you're applying for the fall quarter semester 2021. You will be graduating in 2021 in the spring time. So in the fall time is when you're going to be attending the university. You will be a first-time freshman applicant, which means that even though that some of you may have taken dual enrollment courses through Bakersfield College, you are still considered a freshman, so a first-time applicant, okay? So you are not a transfer student if you've taken dual enrollment courses, just saying that. So navigating the application. So when you do create your application, something similar to the right side here will pop up on your application, where you will see the About You, campus majors, academic history, and so on. As you can see right here in the About You, they're going to ask you about personal information. So family demographics, which is like family size, income. Important to note that income is what allows you to, allows the University of California to determine if you are eligible for the fee waiver, which covers 4 university fees. So that's going to be super important that you put that in accurately, so that at the end of the application you can, it'll let you know right there basically if you are eligible for the waiver. But just keep in mind that those are going to be drop downs that you're going to want to keep, you're going to want to complete. The About You and the citizenship residency. So here, basically, if you're a US citizen, you'll go ahead and list your country of the United States. If you are undocumented, you'll want to go ahead and put no selection. If you're anything other than that, you can go ahead and find out on our University of California website a little bit more about this section. So if you do have a social, we do encourage you to list it, or an I-10. It helps us identify students, so it just, it's pretty much used for that purpose. As you start to select your campuses and your majors, you'll get to see your majors by category, which means that you'll get to see what majors are offered under communications, under humanities, or mathematics. But you can also view your campuses and majors by college, which leads me to the next slide. So what I mean by college is basically like a department. So you'll see that there's a school of nursing. So the school of nursing will have different majors, maybe with different emphasis. So you can basically see here that there's different colleges within the university. Some campuses will allow you to basically select an alternative major. So in the example here, the student selected developmental biology, and that student did choose an alternative major. If it is available to you, we do encourage you to select it just in case the university chooses to consider you for the second alternative major versus your first major that you selected. However, I just want to make sure that you do know that this doesn't guarantee admissions at all. It's just an alternative major. We do have UC San Diego, which actually basically requires you to rank their colleges. Every college here listed, we have 1 through 7, basically has a different theme. And what we mean by theme is that every college has different general education courses. So based on the theme, you should either rank your school as the #1 choice or your last choice. That way you get your first choice if you want the first choice. But we also want to make sure that you know that this does not affect your admissions. This is just to see what general education you are going to be taking. And I'll go ahead and pass it on to Iona from here.
All right, so now we'll discuss the mechanics of the application and how to input your academic history courses. So prior to inputting your high school courses, we do ask if you have taken any high school level math or language other than English in the 7th or 8th grade. And this is super important because if you have taken high school level math like Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, you can actually meet your A through G subject requirements this way. So you want to be ensure that you input the course name and how long that term period was. So if it was a full year, a full semester. So if you have taken geometry prior to high school in 8th grade, you can actually meet that part of the math requirement. And that is the same for language other than English. If you have enrolled in Spanish level, high school level 2 in middle school, 7th, 8th grade, or if you enrolled in French level 2, you can still meet the A through G subject requirements as long as you self-report it here in the application. Keep in mind, we do not request middle school transcripts if you were to be admitted and enroll at UC. So again, this is all self-reported, part of that statement of integrity. And now we'll be reporting your high school coursework. So we do ask that you report all high schools you have attended. So you list every school, even if you've attended a high school briefly for just 1 term, 1 semester, even summer school, and any online schools, we ask you report it here. So you will type in the name of the high school or put in the CEEB code. And what's nice is all schools will be available here. So if it's in California, outside of California, or international. And once you input all the high schools you've attended, and this is why Liz mentioned, it's very important to have your most updated high school transcript with you because everything is self-reported. You want to make sure that your application accurately reflects what is reported on your transcript. So report all the courses you have attempted and have completed that are UC approved. So even those courses that you failed and successfully repeated, so say you got a D in biology and you repeated it the summer later and got a B, we still ask that you report those repeated Ds and F grades. So what you'll do is each year you'll input in the drop-down menu, all UC approved courses will be available. You'll select that course and you'll select the grades you received. As Liz mentioned, to mitigate COVID-19 challenges, UC temporarily suspended the letter grade requirement for winter, spring, summer 2020. So we are accepting pass credit grades to meet A through G requirements. So when you are selecting your grading system, if you have a letter grade A, B, C, D, F, or numerical grading system 0 through 100, you'll still select that grading system because the pass, no pass, credit, no credit grading options will still be available in the drop-down menu. And after you have inputted all of the high school courses you have completed, as Liz mentioned, we know many of you have completed or are currently taking dual enrollment courses at your local community college or even at your local four-year institution. So we will ask, have you attended any colleges? And similar to the high school process, you'll type in the name of that college, not institution. And similar to the high school process, you'll also have the drop-down menu for all the UC transferable courses at the community colleges. You'll have the opportunity to also manually input the name and title of those courses, as well as the grades you received. And right after the academic history portion comes additional comments. So this is where you can share with us information that you think will help us in your review. And this is not a requirement, the additional comments, this is optional, but we do encourage you to take advantage of it, especially if COVID-19 has presented problems to you. We understand that having to quickly migrate to an online virtual learning environment is difficult. So if you find that you had any challenges that presented itself to you, like maybe you didn't have reliable internet, or you weren't able, because of that reliable internet, you weren't able to attend classes as frequently or meet certain deadlines. If you find that there are anything you need to tell us, then put that here in the additional comment section. And now we'll get to the part of the application where you can essentially highlight and boast about yourself. As Liz mentioned, it is just one application. Unfortunately, we don't get to meet you. We don't get to interview our applicants. We only evaluate you based on what you self-report. So it is super important that you essentially boast about what you're proud of, your accomplishments, but also your challenges. We understand that your context, the environment, the opportunities available to you will vary. So this is where you want to share with us what you think, what is most significant to you, as well as what resonates with you the most, and what will really help evaluate you. So in the activities award section, you have the opportunity to list 20 different experiences, and you can list 20 all in educational prep. You can list them all in extracurricular activities. It really is up to you. And we encourage you to keep this relevant, so 9th grade and onwards. And now we'll get to how to report each activity. So for this example here, we have the honors and awards. So you'll actually include the name of the honor award. We ask that you omit any acronyms. So we may not know what some of these programs, awards mean if you include acronyms. So we encourage you to put the full title or name of the program, award, and we also want to know the level of recognition. This is important, right? If you receive MVP, most valuable player, we want to know, is this at the school level, the international level? It really helps when you include that level. And also, if this award is academic, non-academic, and when you receive this award, if you receive this award multiple times, we encourage you to just check mark all the years you receive that award. So for example, MVP for your basketball team at your high school, if you receive that 3 years in a row, include that here. And also what is required to receive this award. This is important. You know, what skill level, talent is required to be honored. And lastly, how did you achieve this award or honor? Do not include, for example, students will be like soccer. The objective of the game is to kick a ball through the opponent's net. We don't need to know that. We want to know what allowed you to receive this award. What was your role? If you're the captain, the secretary of a club, we want to know how many people you oversaw in this club or team. What did you do? Did you train others? What did you do to become MVP, to win, go to tournaments, win, CIF championships, go on to go to semifinals, what have you. So again, as Liz mentioned, context is key. The more information, details, examples you provide, the better we can review you. Think of your application as a written resume. And leadership is not limited to school. Leadership can be at home. We know that since we're all at home, if you're babysitting your younger siblings, you're helping them with their schoolwork, attending online classes, that's called tutoring. Put that in the application. Leadership does not need a title. Leadership is really pretty subjective. It could be at home, in your community, at your church, in your work. And right after activities and awards section comes a scholarship section. So when you apply to UC, you're automatically applying for scholarships. And we encourage you to take advantage of this because you can select up to as many scholarships that apply to you. So as you can see here, you can select some that are based on academics, your ancestry, your background, your ethnicity, your interest in career, work experience, extracurriculars, as well as health, disability. So take advantage of this because if you are admitted to UC, you'll be informed or notified if you received any of these scholarships as well. And a last part of the application is the personal insight questions, also known as PIQs. So the PIQs, they purposely come at the end of the application. As you saw, as a reader, we go through your academics, your activities, awards, and lastly, come the PIQs, because they complete your application, the story of you as an applicant. As I said, we don't get to meet you, so the PIQs and other activities and award sections, additional comments, it's an opportunity for you to highlight as well as go in depth with certain areas in the application. And the PIQs are made up of the 14 comprehensive review factors. So there are 14 selection factors that each campus uses, and there are 8 questions, and you're only required to answer 4. No more than 4, no less than 4, and you get to choose which 4 you would like to answer. They all have equal value, and we allow you to choose because we know that some of those selection factors will resonate with you more than others. Maybe you have more non-academic talents, leadership opportunities that you would like to share out in the application versus academic. So again, they're all equal value, and think of this as added value. They will not hurt you. Your responses are only here to add value. This is not also going to be a main determining factor in your admissions decision. This is just here to purely add value, to add that additional information we couldn't get anywhere else in the application. And this is not an academic essay. This is the opposite of an essay. These are short response questions. You only have 350 words maximum to share out. So think of this as prime real estate. The more detailed, concrete response examples you can provide, the better we can review and add that additional value. And think of this as I and my statements. Use I and my pronouns. This is personal, about you, not about how awesome your dog is or how awesome your grandma is, how they're an inspiration. Try and focus the responses on you, and omit any creative writing, song lyrics, quotes, when life gives you lemons, dialogue. Use your own authentic voice. And as you can see here, if you'd like to review the questions, you can email them to yourself. And again, 350 words, but if you feel that you don't need to utilize it all, don't feel pressured. Again, think of it as prime real estate, but also you can still provide a lot of context and detail and be quite brief. And for example, number 2, popular question, every person has a creative side. It can be expressed in many ways: problem solving, original, innovative thinking, and artistically, to name a few. Describe how you express your creative side. So when I say think of your application as a written interview, you want to write or type your responses as if you're responding to the reader, as if you're across the table sitting from me and I'm asking you these interview questions. When I say omit creative writing, you wouldn't respond to number 2 like, I express my creative writing, boom, 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 lights are flashing, my heart is beating, I'm running down the halls. You want to omit all of that. You really just want to respond as if you're speaking with me. You would respond as, I express my creativity through ... So you don't need to have, it was a fall morning, the leaves were turning yellow, I woke up and I knew I wanted to be a UC Merced Bobcat. Again, you don't need to have that. Just be very direct and straight to the point. We also have a handy guide and worksheet that helps break down each question. That way you can determine which questions are your strengths and which ones you want to respond to. And right after the PIQ section comes additional comments. This is another opportunity for you to share anything that you were unable to share anywhere else in the UC application. So as I mentioned, if COVID, again, has presented a lot of challenges, share this here. If you had any visa issues, or again, there was issues with transitioning to online learning environment, anything that you think would help us in your review, share that here. This is not an opportunity to insert a 5th PIQ response. And as we're about to submit it, there are a lot of safeguards in the application that actually indicate and inform you if you're missing a section and a section is incomplete. So you'll see that if you have completed all sections, there'll be check marks, but academic history, it looks like it's not complete. So before you submit it, we'll say, hey, warning, are you sure you want to complete this section? It looks like it's missing information here. So again, we try to ensure that you're accurately self-reporting everything. And as Liz mentioned, there is a fee waiver embedded into the application. So you'll receive up to 4 campuses for free, and based on your household income and how many people are dependent on that income, it will notify you immediately in the application if you are eligible for that. And this is where you'll say, yes, I'd like to accept the fee waiver. And again, it is $70 for residents, $80 for international students. And as you're about to submit it, you'll, or actually when you submit it, you'll receive a confirmation via email, the email that you applied to, you applied the application with, and you'll say, congratulations, you've submitted your application. These are the campuses that you've applied to, and you, as well as your UC application ID and the date you submitted it. And also keep in mind, there is a release authorization and statement of integrity piece in the application. So you're essentially saying, yes, everything I'm self-reporting is accurate to my knowledge. And this is also where you can authorize release to your parents, legal guardian, as well as your counselor or counseling office at your respective school. And what's nice is if you haven't, you want to make any changes, you want to go back into your application, you just go back to the application website, you go to my account, and you can see that you can confirm these are the campuses that I applied to. And if you want to make any changes, you can do so here in the application under each tab. And now we want to share with you that the UC Application Center, you can call us, it's a hotline, especially as the deadline draws closer. They do have a bit more available hours, so feel free to email the UC Application Center or call. And we also want to share with you these resources. This is where you can apply to UC, see how the campus review your application, the actual application website, and this is a nice guide on UC requirements, as well as how to be eligible, as well as any other questions you may have regarding selection for each campus. And now I want to end with your regional representative, Elizabeth Lopez, to share her last thoughts.
Hello, everyone. I really hope that this presentation was helpful to you. We really look forward to your application, and here is my email that you can email us at, and I also have my work cell phone attached, so you can either call or text if you feel more comfortable with texting with any questions that you have throughout your application. So we really look forward to you, and good luck.